Hello, everybody. Welcome to our Local Marketing in Times of Crisis webinar. Thank you for joining. We're going to get started here. I want to first welcome my other panelists here. Introduce yourselves. My name is Jason Tabeling. I'm our Executive Vice President of Product Marketing. Sarah and Adam.
Hi, I'm Sarah Cucchiara. I'm the Vice President of Performance Marketing at BrandMuscle.
Hi, everybody. I'm Adam Dorfman. I'm the Director of Product Growth at Reputation.com.
So we're really grateful to have both Sarah and Adam join me today. As we talk through what we're going to do today, I'm going to launch a couple polls for you guys. We'd love to know who we're talking to. We've gotten, right now there's 85 different folks on the line. So we're going to launch a couple polls to get to know you guys and who's out there right now. So I think that poll is launched. I see some responses coming in right now. Looks like I did a bad job with the industries that I put folks into, 50% in others right now. Thank you. So we're gonna do our best. We've gotten a ton of questions so far from people, so we tried our best to put them into buckets. We won't get to everything, but please feel free to ask questions in the webinar chat. And we will do our best to respond to those as well as we go through this today. So just a couple more seconds, we'll close this poll. That's good enough for now because we have one other question. This will help us. So Adam and Sarah, looks like food, restaurant, retail is leading the pack, other than other, telecom and tech, number 2, manufacturing and financial services. Welcome everybody to it. And the other thing we want to know is just, the types of audience that we're talking to today, so we can try and we'll do our best to keep the jargon down overall, but if you want to just give us a rough, experience level out there, we'll get started. So while we finish this poll, as we go through the questions, look, we hope everybody out there is safe and well. Your businesses are certainly facing unprecedented challenges, our families, our loved ones as well. It's really crazy, crazy time. So we appreciate you spending the time with us. Adam, Sarah, myself are all trying to figure this out ourselves in real time, and so we hope we can share what we're telling our customers, what we're telling our internal folks through this time, and share some best practices. All right, thank you very much. Pretty experienced group here, 70%, 10+ years, so we're in good company, folks. All right, so just as we go through it here, we're not going to have a bunch of slides. No slides for you. We're just going to go into questions, right? So let's get started with this. The first question I'm going to take, it's what's the biggest mistake and opportunity people have missed so far with COVID-19? And I think the most important thing that we're really finding right now is the fundamentals. You're looking at the very, very basic things that consumers are looking for from folks. They want to know, are you open? What are your current hours? How can I reach you? Things that you can do through your social channels, through your location data management channels are really, really important. And we find still far, far too many people have not taken the time to update these things and to fundamentally follow the basics and be empathetic with folks so far. Sarah, Adam, anything you guys want to add to that?
No, I mean, I think you've nailed it. It's just you got to communicate what your business is doing and get that out there for your consumers.
Yeah, I'd certainly echo what both of you said, and it can be challenging right now in how to communicate effectively on certain channels. But later, I know we're going to be getting to some more tactical, specific things you can do to make that happen.
Yeah. So Sarah, this next question, let's have you field this one to start. It's, should local businesses continue to advertise at this time, and why?
Yeah, so I would first say that you have to manage your business the way that you feel is the best for you right now. So that's, I think, first and foremost is you're running your business and you're in the best position to make those decisions. But to answer that specific question, I would say that yes, you should be advertising right now for sure. We're telling our clients that they should continue to advertise, but they really need to review their messaging to make sure that it's relevant for right now. And then to really look at the tactics and shift funds to where our consumers are right now, which most of us are at home and online. So that's what we're telling our customers. One thing I did want to mention for this group in particular was, and Jason and you and I have talked about this, an article came out this week in Marketing Week with Kantar that talked about the fact that consumers right now expect companies to be advertising, and they want that advertising to be relevant, reassuring, and really communicate the brand values. But what I found most interesting was at the bottom of the article, they did this theoretical test of a brand that stopped advertising. And what they found was if a brand stopped advertising now, the long term was a 13% impact to sales and a loss in market share. So while we're in a total chaotic situation right now and we're all trying to figure out what to do, I think we have to take a breath and we have to not only think about what's happening right now, but what are the long-term impacts to our business, because we are going to come out of this at some point, right? So they also did on the flip side, if a company cut their budget by 50%, so they continued to spend, they saw only 1% impact to sales over time, and they maintained market share and potentially grew market share during this time. So, what we're advising people to do is continue to advertise, review that messaging for relevancy. That's really key right now. And then review your tactics and make sure that you're shifting your budgets to the most efficient tactics right now for where your consumers are.
Yeah, that study referenced only 8% of consumers thought brands should stop advertising. So it's not like the majority 60-40. It's people are comfortable with it. I think you just got to understand the audience you're talking to.
Right.
Good, Sarah. Okay, Adam, let's toss this next one to you.
I feel like actually an opportunity now, and I'm seeing this with a lot of local businesses in my area, of them being creative and trying new forms of advertising. We all know that we are typically business owners are pulled in a million different directions at once. And the opportunity or just finding the time to experiment with new things is usually like impossible because you're doing 50 different jobs at once. With more time right now, which some of us might have, is this chance to really just try, hey, what about this specific tactic? Or what about trying this new set of keywords if you're talking about paid search or trying to refine certain campaigns? This might be a good chance to do that, so that even if you're dropping spend, you become more efficient. And then when you come out of this, you're going to be running that much faster.
Yeah. Good. Okay, Adam, let's keep rolling with you here. The next question that we got from our attendees was, during this time, how should we be engaging and respond to our customers and community?
Yeah. So this one's a difficult one, because you do more than anything, you want to stay connected with your community. This is not just your customers, but your community as well too. And actually what I just said kind of ties in nicely with this, where when I look at what people and what companies are doing right now to engage me, it's been fantastic. I'm really pleasantly surprised when I walk down the street in my neighborhood and I see businesses where their doors might be shuttered and they're non-essential, so unable to be open, but I see their cell phone numbers listed, like the owner's cell phone numbers listed there, saying, please call me if you need anything. I feel those sorts of, I think it's a time to think outside of the box. You can't just hammer them over and over again with emails and with text messages, campaigns, and whatever else you might be doing. You need to be respectful of people's bounds. Just because they have more time at home doesn't necessarily mean they want to see that much more. But for those customers that are contacting you, it is a fantastic time, not just to respond to whatever they need in that moment, but to potentially open up conversations. How can I improve my business operationally? What can I do to make your experience better when we are able to see each other again in person? So I think it's really important for everybody to be looking not just at ways to communicate outwards, but to really take advantage of when people are reaching out to you and start communicating with you directly.
Yeah, good, good. Okay, let's go to the next one. I see lots of questions coming in, so we'll make sure we get to those as well. I want to get to just a couple more on the that were submitted ahead of time, and I'll go through those. But the next one I'll take was, how do you build community and stay in touch when your business is dependent on gathering? And this one is really tricky, right? We're all sort of coming to grips with new new situations where we're working from home, or we can't be together with folks that we would normally be out in a community event. And I think the most important things are twofold. One, we're all facing the same situation. There's really no situation we've ever come across where everyone is in the same boat across your city, your block, your neighbors, the country, the world is in the same situation. It's insane. So you have to keep that in mind. And I think people being creative with some of the meetup places. So think about that money you might have spent on an event that's canceled. Can you put that towards a donation, or say that anyone that watches your live feed on Instagram or Facebook Live, for every person you'll donate $5? Or can you get a local artist or a local chef, or anything that you're going to donate food to, or have someone deliver a meal if people do something. You could even play games, create a virtual event and play maybe a game like Kahoot or Heads Up or Pictionary that we're seeing people do on a Hangout app, or have people gather in different places, set up Zoom meetings, other things that you can do to kind of invent what essentially a different type of gathering is in this time or space. Okay, the next one, Sarah, that we want to do is talk social. So I'm going to throw up a quick poll here, just to get a sense of what people are doing already. The poll is, how often have the hours of your operation been updated on your website or social sites? So this is a big one. Essentially, have you already taken action in terms of updating? And Sarah, while that question comes in, I'll give the results as people respond here, but I'll let you talk. Right, there's tons of questions of social in general. How do hyperlocal clients use social media? Suggestions for social media. So why don't you go ahead and just get that started while we start with this.
Yeah. So I mean, right out, social media is just a great way to communicate and connect with your community. I mean, that's really the goal, I think, of social media at its core. And what we've seen, and we talked about this a little bit on our last webinars, social platforms are seeing, massive amounts of traffic. Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter are seeing record traffic on their sites. It's where we all are, to be able to connect with our friends, to connect with each other, to just to connect to the world right now. We're leveraging those platforms, and it's a great space for your business to be in, and to continue to connect with your community, with your customers, when you can't do it physically, maybe in your restaurant or your store or your office. So, the things to remember, again, going back to those fundamentals, are you communicating your hours changes? Are you communicating the different ways that you're maybe running your business now? So have you changed the way that you're offering your services? So if I can't go into your office, can we do a video meeting? Are you taking everything via email or phone call? Are you doing carry out or delivery? All of those things are really important to share with your consumers, so they know that, number one, you're still open, and number two, that you're still doing business and you want to work with them. The other thing, you take advantage of social to promote yourself, and to promote, if you're doing a promotion or if you're doing a sale, it's a great place to communicate it. I mean, if you're still in business, a lot of us work off of promotions and sales. It's okay to talk about that. It's okay to put that out on social, to let people know that it's available so they can take advantage of it. And then finally, just communicate out what you're doing in the community. Like you said, people are really interested in what businesses are doing to help not only their own community, but how are they helping their own employees, right? Because we're all in this together, to your point. We've never been in this type of a situation. And I think that type of information really resonates with people and starts to build on that loyalty. And I think loyalty is going to be a big key coming out of this, is what are businesses doing to help their community, to help each other. Sharing that on social is a great way to get that out there and start to build that loyalty. And then I would say, just a couple of things to keep in mind. If you're new to social, if you're not overly comfortable in social, remember to be sensitive to the situation. I think that's really important. Don't be overly promotional. We don't want anybody to take advantage of the situation. Again, there needs to be a nice balance there. Be super careful with humor. We have to be sensitive to the times. But I would say maintain your brand voice. If you've got a unique brand voice, make sure you maintain that, but be very transparent and honest. That's really key right now. That's really what social's about. That transparency, that honesty about what you're going through, all of that really resonates well in social. And that's really, how we would recommend leveraging social right now.
That's fantastic, Sarah. One thing that I saw that the gym that I belong to, which is a local, it's not like a 24-hour fitness or LA Fitness or something, just a local gym that they've been doing is because I can't go to the gym, but in order to keep memberships up and things along those lines, when you talk about transparency, one of the things that they said, which really was very effective for me at least, was talk about if we can get 80% of where we are not going to hold you to paying your monthly memberships or anything along those lines. But if 70% of you keep your monthly membership, we'll be able to keep everybody employed for an indefinite amount of time. And I haven't talked to the owners. I'm not sure if they were able to succeed with that or not. But I think if you're transparent and you do this in a way to to show what this is having to you as a business in a very kind of matter of fact, not necessarily asking, but just kind of saying this is where we're at as a business. I think you can really see some nice results with that as well too, because people do know you as a business owner. They do know they do want to see you succeed. If they've visited you before and they've had good experiences, they don't want you to disappear. So you might be able to try certain things like that as well.
Right.
Good.
Great.
So I just want to address some of the questions that are coming in overall. We referenced that study earlier. We'll send a link to the report for everybody following this update, and we'll do our best to answer these. That question came in a lot. Another question, Sarah, I think we'll bucket it up with the next one that we had looped in and kind of put them together. So one question is out of home still relevant during this lockdown? That's one part of it. And two is, someone asked, for companies that have never used tactics like geofencing or other digital tactics, how do you help them get over your fears? So sort of a traditional question blended into moving somebody on to digital, Sarah.
Sure. So out of home is interesting right now. None of us are leaving our houses. So out of home really is challenging at the moment, right? That said, there are some people that are still going to work, right? We have people that are essential workers. They do have to go to work. We appreciate what they do every day, that they are putting themselves in harm's way to help us out. But there are a lot fewer people outside of their homes right now. So I think businesses need to look at, what is their overall strategy, not only right now, but, coming out of this. It's funny, we work with a lot of small businesses, and there are some of them that are really, really tied to a certain billboard on a certain highway in their town. And I think they just need to analyze and talk to their vendors, like if they need to stay in that contract to maintain that board. That's something that's a business decision they need to make. But for the most part, I would say out of home is a real challenge right now, because we don't know when we're going to come out of this. And those funds could be better spent in other areas like online. I would say you shouldn't be scared of online. I know it's different. It's something that a lot of people are uncomfortable with. I would say find a partner that can help you move into the digital space in an effective and an efficient way, because you can very quickly make some mistakes that might cost you money. But there are a lot of people out there that are willing to help small businesses right now. There are a lot of companies like, all of us that help those small businesses really be successful at a very hyper local level in the digital space. So I would reach out to some of those, and there are some people out there that are doing some great work with small businesses right now to help them figure this out.
I think, yeah, I think that's true. I think, there are, Facebook has small business
Right.
credits they're doing. Yelp has some, Google has some tools.
Right.
So they're trying to bring people into digital advertising with some funding components. I think that's key piece. Also, I mean, if you haven't done much digital before, you're trying to convince somebody into digital, I think the best other piece I would say, Sarah, is to think about the measurement aspects. Are you trying to
Wow.
get the
Yeah.
phone to ring? Are you trying to get people to come to the website, to download an app? What are the measurement pieces you're trying to do? Because you can actually demonstrate that these things are working. So X number of people saw your ad, X number of people clicked on the ad, X number, like these metrics are out of the box and start to really demonstrate tangibility. That can be a little bit of a gift and a curse, but certainly a good way to start to get people involved. Is
Well, I think
geofencing?
it's reassuring too, to see that, okay, I'm spending this money in a new tactic. I'm really nervous about it. There's reporting there to validate it's okay. You are seeing interaction with your brand. And I think that helps reassure people. And it's quick, it's real time. So if something feels that it's wrong, pause it and reevaluate. So I think that's the great flexibility too
That's right.
with digital.
Yeah, that's right. All right, let's move on to the next one we got from the audience here. Adam, I'll tee this one up for you. What are the best practices for sharing COVID related messaging on Google today?
Yeah, so that's a really good question, and one that I've gotten every day for the last 2 or 3 weeks, it feels like. It's been interesting seeing Google come to terms with what their shortcomings are in terms of delivering business location information on their search results pages, specifically in the knowledge panel. That's what we're really talking about. The way that they have it structured and that they have had it structured is that it's very formatted. There's very specific things you can control, and there's huge tight guardrails everywhere about what it is that you can message and how you can message. And they've been trying to react as quickly as they're able to. It's funny, one of the first things that they tried supporting, and that they are now currently supporting, is allowing businesses to label themselves as temporarily closed. So first and foremost, if you log into your Google My Business dashboard, you are able to mark your business as temporarily closed, which will put a banner up there. It's a new status that they are now supporting. I should point out that Google themselves has made it clear that if you mark your business as temporarily closed, it has zero impact on how you are going to be ranking and how visible you are going to be in search results. So if that is a concern as to, oh no, if I mark myself as temporarily closed, I'm going to disappear, that shouldn't be a concern. There's none of the prominence factors of the ranking algorithm are affected by this whatsoever. So that's number one. The first thing that you can do is start marking your business as temporarily closed. And that's highly recommended if you are closed, because the last thing we want are people showing up to businesses unnecessarily. I mean, for the health of our nation and everything else. The second thing that they've recommended, the second thing that they've been doing is saying, go ahead and update your Google My Business description as well too. So if you have a business description on there, that is an open text field that you are able to control. So if you want to put in some COVID related messaging, now's a good time to do that. You can always change it back and shift it as things go on. That tends to be less prominent, oftentimes below the fold, depending on what device and what browser settings you have and things along those lines. But still, it's easily controlled and something worth doing. The third thing that they're doing is updating attributes, specifically for restaurants and healthcare. Now, attributes are those secondary sets of information that are typically yes/no questions that help paint a more deeper understanding of what your business is about. So it's not things like inherently core to your business, like your phone number or your address or your category, but it's those questions and answers like, do you have free Wi-Fi? Are you handicap accessible? Like those sorts of questions. So Google is starting to roll out new attributes, and restaurants in particular, they are making it much more prominent for certain attributes that they already support, like takeout and delivery, or sorry, yeah, carry out, like takeout and delivery now are attributes that they had already supported. And if you do a search for a restaurant, and you have filled those out, you're going to see them front and center in the knowledge panel at the very top. So definitely, if you are a restaurant or you work with restaurant businesses, highly recommend you do that. They also have announced that they're going to be rolling out a new attribute called curbside pickup for restaurants, but I suspect it's also going to be rolled out to other verticals, retail and things like that as well too. So that's another one that's being done. And then finally, Google Posts. Google Posts is essentially Google's social media advertising sort of thing that you can put within the knowledge panel. So you can put offers, you can put events, you can put news. Those are the 3 types of posts that they support. They are doing a couple things here. First and foremost, they have a new post type that's called COVID-19 posts. And what that is going to do is if you add a COVID-19 post, it will be an image, and it can have whatever information you want to direct people to more information about how your business is handling COVID-19. And there's some benefits right now to that. First and foremost, Google is letting these posts stay up for 14 days instead of 7 days. So they're extending the length of time so you don't have to go in and re-add those on a regular basis. The second thing that they've done is if you are a technology company or you're an agency or you're hooked into Google My Business's APIs, you can now manage posts at scale for enterprise businesses, which was historically not possible. So if you are a business that had 10 or more locations, being able to send the same post across all of your locations at once, not possible. You would have to log into the dashboard and go one by one by one by one by one. Google's now allowing that to happen at scale. So if you are a company and you are working with a platform or you've built in to anything yourself, I would highly encourage you to investigate how you can create posts at scale across across all of your Google My Business listings.
Yeah, good. So we got just one last poll that we had with this one. I think this one's come up the most. So if you have the folks in the audience here updated their Google My Business or location data management listings during this time, I think we'll want to share this with everybody as we move forward. I'm gonna field, Adam and Sarah, a little off the script and go a couple questions that we've gotten here that have popped up a few times. One is when we talked about offline advertising, someone asked about what about direct mail? Sarah, do you want to answer that?
Yeah, I mean, direct mail is great. I think it's definitely relevant right now. We're all at home and hungry for any kind of communication. So I think direct mail is becoming more and more relevant. Things that I'm seeing from a direct mail perspective, I live in the suburbs and we don't typically have a lot of delivery, and I'm getting a lot of delivery menus right now, which is great. I'm getting exposed to businesses and restaurants that I didn't even know about prior to now. I think, again, direct mail paired with display advertising is just even better. But I think direct mail is becoming more and more relevant as, we're stuck at home and hungry for just communication in general. So I think leveraging direct mail and leveraging it in interesting ways is definitely a tactic you should be exploring.
Okay, good. So the poll's still coming in. I'm gonna leave this up for a little bit longer. Right now it's evenly split. Adam, you'd be interested in this, or for everybody, 20 in terms of this question, have you updated your My Business listings or location data management? 27% yes, 27% no, 47% unsure. So still a large majority in the either no or unsure area. And I think this, when you're thinking about digital, Google My Business is a free tool. There are obviously other services like reputation.com or other companies that are providing services in this area to help you with it. It's a good place to start. If you're not sure, you can even do a search on Google and for a listing, and if it says claim this listing, no one's taken that steps yet. And you can start to follow through how to claim and follow the steps there.
And I would just add to that if you haven't done that, it's really recommended. We've done a lot of studies across thousands of businesses to determine how are people first interacting with your business. And Google My Business is like what we've been saying at reputation.com is it's your new front door. your new digital front door, because people are not going to your business's website when they're not typing in your business website. They're typing in your business name on Google if it's a recovery or branded search, or they're doing a discovery search and seeing your business on Google first anyway. So getting whatever information you need to get to them on Google, where they are seeing your business first, should be a high priority for you, and something that is definitely worth investigating if you haven't done it yet, as Jason suggested.
I mean, I would go even further to say, if you haven't done this, as soon as you get off this call, this should be your #1 priority.
Yeah,
if you're going to take one thing from this today, go find out if you have your Google My Business claimed, update your hours, and second, go to Facebook and make sure all of your business information is up to date on Facebook.
100%. One thing I do need to point out is Google My Business, like many companies, is understaffed right now and being overwhelmed with businesses trying to update their information. So business information updates that would historically either go live immediately or get approved within 1, maybe 2 days at most, are now taking upwards of 5 to 7 business days. So what Sarah said is absolutely true. That doesn't change anything, but get your updates in the queue as quickly as possible so that you can get the correct information in front of your communities and your customers as quickly as possible.
Right.
So two other things that have come up a couple different times in the question, so I'll take us off the pre-questions ahead of time for these two things. One was, how transparent should we be in our marketing? Can we over-communicate? You know, we've made certain changes on our website, but what about email, paid search? How much is too much? And I'll take a first stab at this one. I don't think in this time that you can over-communicate too much. I think sharing how much you are in this with your local community, with your fellow human beings, consumers, moms, dads, business owners, whatever, cannot be understated. I mean, it's really fascinating, I think, to see how different businesses are handling this, the stories behind them, the way they're contributing, the way they're coming up with different solutions for things is really fascinating. And like I said earlier, we're all just trying to figure this out. So over communicating may bring an idea up for somebody else that they may not have thought of before. Someone posted in here, I think it's a good example in here. Someone said, just yesterday, my local Chamber of Commerce had their first remote greeters meeting using my unified communications platform. We had 46 smiling faces join us for an hour of joy and connection. Like, I don't know that you would think about that as a standard example, but I think that's a pretty good example of someone being creative about how to gather and how to communicate with one another. I don't know, Sarah, Adam, if you have anything to add to that, but that question came up a couple times.
Restate the question again. Can you restate it again? Or go ahead,
It's
Adam.
basically how can I communicate? You know, is there such thing as over communicating at this time?
Go ahead, Adam.
So I would say, like we've been saying, it's fine. People are starved for communicate. I'm picking up the phone for the first time in years of phone numbers that I don't recognize. I mean, I haven't done that in years. And again, it's all spam. I shouldn't, but just because the interaction is making me starve to actually speak and communicate with anybody. And to that end, I'm also, I think, like many of us, are maybe spending more time on social media. I'm not really on Facebook. I just have a shell account there, but Instagram, I like quite a bit. And what I'm seeing local businesses do on there is just incredible. And many of them are posting multiple times per day, but it doesn't feel like too much. They're doing it with a sense of humor and with grace. And I think and also connecting, and you just see the comments flowing in, and they're creating story challenges where, you know, maybe if you're a gym, it's a pull-up challenge, or if you are a local restaurant, it's a recreate this dish that we've done. Here's a recipe, and you know, and you just see people just start chaining together. It's been really, it's been a lot of fun to participate and see that happen as well.
Good. Okay. Thanks, Adam. We got to most of the questions. I think there still were some others, but in the effort of time, I just wanted to kind of wrap up here and see if we had any other commentary. But the summary, I think, for me today, and Sarah and Adam, please add on to these. You know, keep your information up to date. not in only in your location data. Adam talked through all the things that Google's doing to try and help you with specific COVID-19 posts or temporarily closed, all these situations to try and accommodate this unique situation. Share with your consumers across various channels, email, social, signs outside your restaurant, in the lawn or outside your business, letting people know what's going on. If you're in advertising, try and use digital as much as you can to respect the fact most people are in their homes. You want to be efficient, turn things on, turn things off overall. And then I think, just again, we wish everybody safety and a speedy through this as we're all in this stuff together. So Sarah, Adam, anything you want to add there?
The number two, that one thing we didn't talk about was email, and I think that is another good communication channel. Email and SMS and text messaging are great ways that people are used to communicating and getting communications, and so I don't want anybody to forget about those channels. I'm still getting text messages and updates from companies that I work with, so I would just say leverage every channel that you have available to communicate with your consumers or your customers. It's really important right now.
Yep, and I would, I think I would add phone to that as well too.
Yeah.
If you have a couple key customers, long-term customers that are regulars that you have not just they have a deeper rapport with, pick up the phone and give them a call. I'm sure they would love to hear from you, and love to know that you're checking in to see how they're doing as well.
Yeah.
Good. Well, again, thank you, Adam, and all the information from rep.com. We're really glad you could join us. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you to the 100+ of you that were able to join today. We hope this was helpful for you. Feel free to reach out to us on any social channels or anything like that. On our website, both of our websites, we do have additional resources, best practices for this that you can all check out. We'll get you a recording of this webinar. We'll try and continue to stay engaged through the same channels and the recommendations we made for ourselves we're using as a company as well. So we wish you all the best. Thank you again for joining. Thanks, Adam and Sarah, and we'll talk to everybody soon.
Thanks.
Bye-bye. Thanks, friends.